All right, what is going on, guys? How's everybody doing today? As you can see right off the rip here, I went and picked up a grapple today. Super excited to make some content with this. I did do a little bit of test. You can see I got it already scratched up over here, but I could not give it a good old solid try. So I moved a little bit of concrete, just picked it up, dropped it back down. I figured I'll wait to do a video of me moving the concrete and asphalt that we have back there. However, I do think this is going to be huge for our business. I had one for all my tractor last year. The smaller tractor I had a grapple, and I ran that thing almost more than I did the bucket. So when I got the bigger tractor, I ended up going with the 4-in-1 bucket, which I'm not happy with. I definitely should have got a grapple and bucket combo, but things happen. However, I did pick up one for the LHY, and before I actually get too deep into it, I'm gonna put some grease on all these fittings here, make sure everything's greased up, since that's the most important. But this grapple isn't the star of the video today. What I did want to talk about is the company as a whole, and wanted to go over one big reason I ended up going with Huayee for my skid steer option. So as you might be able to see, I'm not really sure how well the camera can pick it up, but we're gonna pop this hood up here, and instead of tilting the hood up like it normally would, we can't do that. Why can't we do that? Hinges are broke, and so this one snapped right here, and let me lift this up real quick. And this one, the 2 bolts, I lost in it. So the bolts came out of it, and now the whole the whole hood comes directly off. So obviously we could tell that's a pretty big deal. If I can't lift this up and attach this to then work on the inside of here when I need to, we're gonna have some difficulties being able to properly maintain our skid steer. I ended up noticing the bolts were missing and the hinge was broken when I opened this up yesterday to do my oil change on the machine. So what did I do? I contacted Lee, who I purchased the machine from, and within 30 minutes, I received a phone call from, I guess, their service guy. He asked me what the problem was. I explained it to him, and within 1 day, brand new brackets, brand new screws, at zero cost to myself due to the warranty on the machine. And inside of this box, not only is there 2, but they sent me extras just in case. So that's the main reason I went with this brand. Now, I'm sure that there's other brands out there that might do it, and I'm not gonna negatively talk about any other brands that are out there. This just happened to be the one I stumbled across on Facebook. I talked to him, and he just seemed like he was easy to get along with. He answered all the questions I always asked. He responded in a timely manner, and like that's what I was looking for when it came to purchasing a machine. All right, so I took 1 bolt and nut out already. It looks like it's a 4mm. I believe that's what this is. Yeah. So I believe it's a 4mm Allen, and then a 10mm socket for the underside. So that bolt came right out pretty easy. This one's finger loose now. This one seems like it's going to be a little bit more challenging to get to because of how the top plate here works. It looks like the screw hits onto there. All right, so this is by no means the scientific way to do this, but as you can tell, this screw sits, this is how the bracket actually sits, and that screw is underneath this lip right here. It like covers up, not half, but maybe like a quarter of the screw. So you can't, or bolt, you can't pop it up. Now there is 2 13mm bolts, one on this side, one on this side, that hold this top plate to here. And it's just underneath here. You can see it when you look under there. There's one on each side. So I took both of those out, and that allowed me to kind of lightly lift up this to separate this top plate from the bottom plate. Now I can't lift it all the way up because then I'd have to take off the entire control system here, because this bolts to here, but it also is clamped down by the top plate that covers up all the electronics here. So what I did is I just grabbed this with my hand and lifted up, and then I stuck an Allen key under here just to kind of give it like a spacer. And I'm just shy of being able to come out. That's almost the biggest one I have. This is the biggest one I have in this kit right here, which is 7mm. So I wonder if I lift this up just a little bit more, slide this under there, if maybe this will give me just a little bit more to be able to fit that, get that bolt out. So we got the 7 under there now. Look at that, just enough. So this was the broken bracket, and luckily I don't have to change that one here. I just got to replace these bolts. But on this one, we're going to change those bolts out with the new ones. So we have our brand new pack here from them. And then this will go on here. So we're going to set this down real quick. And I don't want to reuse the bolts that we originally did. So we're going to set these bolts in the box. There it is. All right, so that bolt's in. We're gonna grab this last bolt here. This one goes in easy. Cool, so both of those are in. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Allen key out. There was our little spacer. Set that down. And that should be good. All right, they are nylon lock nuts, so I'm just gonna hand tighten them until it touches. And then once it touches, we'll then put that on there. But first, before I put these brackets all the way on, I'm gonna put this 13mm bolt back in here. So we're just gonna hand tighten this in there for now. And grab this one. Now we can tighten this down. The 13mm. Okay. And then do the same on this side. Be careful where to swing the wrench. A lot of wires underneath here and hydraulic hoses. So don't go crazy. Alrighty, so let's get the hood set up now. We're gonna get this set up, lift this up. So I originally tried to put this bracket on here and it wasn't lining up properly with the actual bracket, with the holes. The holes of the hood weren't lined up with the bracket. So what I did is I loosened up these two to give it a little bit of wiggle room, and hopefully that will give us a little bit of clearance, which it looks like it does. Kind of together. Sometimes you just got to use your head, man. I think putting this up here will not help. Maybe for a second. All right, cool. So we could leave that just for a second, but I don't want to leave it like that for long. This would definitely be a lot easier with more than one person. Okay, so all those are on. Get my 4mm again, my socket set, a 10mm socket. Getting just one of those on helps significantly. Let's go over on that side and get one on there. And then that way we can release some of this tension. Switch this over, put it on my shoulder, lower it down so the bracket is flat. Get my Allen key on there. And get this as straight as we can right about there. Cool. That's on. See if we can get enough room in here. Alrighty. So, definitely a little bit of a process to get this all situated here. However, it's on, and the parts were sent to me for free, covered under the warranty. Okay, so I'm sure if I had a dealership close enough to me, maybe they would have did this all for free. They would have done this. I don't know how that works, but not that there isn't close enough to me, but 3 hours isn't a close enough drive for me to worry about a couple brackets. I'm just beyond thankful that they were able to send me a pack of these brackets, and like I said, I have extras now. Hopefully they don't break and I don't need them, but if they, whatever reason they do, if I lose more bolts like I did before, I don't have to worry about it. So I am super thankful for that. Now let's jump into part 2 of another situation. All right, so while we're out here wrenching, we might as well address situation number 2. So if you've watched my original video of my first job I did with this, which was the driveway install, super excited when I got the machine, and then I found out that the fuel gauge wasn't working. So what did I do? Reached out again to Lee right away. He got me in contact with the service guy. He gave me some things to try. I just never got around to doing it until today. So this is the fuel sensor, and he told me to put 2 tick marks on it, as you can see. One's at about 12 o'clock and one's at about 9 o'clock. That sensor apparently needs to go on exactly how it came out. So it has 5 Phillips heads that I'm going to take out, and then just that one wire that plugs in right there. And we're going to then turn the machine on and adjust the float and see if maybe the float is just stuck. And then we will, if it is, I have a tank of gas that hopefully that shaft is long enough to reach in there, and we'll see if it floats and maybe it was just stuck. If that's the case, then it should be a quick and easy fix. If not, then the fuel sensor is bad, and then they'll send me a replacement. And then all I have to do is take those 5 Phillips heads out again, and unplug the wire, plug the new wire in, put the 5 Phillips heads in, and then we're done. So we're gonna check that now. I'm trying to give you guys a better angle here. Hopefully this helps out a little bit. Gets the tripod out of my way at least. All right, so we're gonna unplug this really quick. Move this screwdriver. We're gonna take this out of here. So we have this unplugged for a second, and what I'm gonna try and do here is plug this back in, because that cable runs underneath the hydraulic hose. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the skid steer on auxiliary mode only. So we turn the battery on, and we're just clicking it to here. We don't want to start it. And as you can tell, our fuel gauge is still not working, which is what we expected. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this out, and we're going to push this down on here ever so slightly, and see if we can get it to balance. So right now it should be reading full, which it is. So it's reading full now because the float went up. And that float is what's sending the sensor to the fuel gauge to let me know how much fuel is in the tank. So we know that it works. So now what we need to do is the other test. All right, so we found a little Merry Christmas cup here. Don't tell the wife. And let's see how poorly this goes. I don't want to lift it up too high. We're gonna try that. I'll put that cap at. All right, let's see how this works. We're still on a, let's see, where can I set this down? That should be good. Get all the little drips off there. Swing this around. And we're still reading E. So it's a bad float. Not the end of the world. It's pretty much what I expected. Just based off of how it was kind of working. So we're just gonna set this down. We'll put this back. We'll dump that in there. Let me get the screws to put that on there. And then we'll wrap this up. All right, so that wraps up this video. All in short, definitely find yourself a machine with a warranty. I have no affiliation with Huayee, but I do recommend them. Like I said, something so simple, but easily replaceable. Sent the parts right back out to me. I was able to get them taken care of. That was a problem from the get-go, from the day I bought this machine. When I bought it and I brought it home, I just thought it didn't have gas in it, and I filled it up on my way to the job site. So when I got there and turned it on, that's when I noticed, well, the gauge is broken. They reached out. I just haven't had a chance because I have so many jobs to do that, like I said, that's the least of my worries. I can just, every 4 hours, I would just put gas in it. It's not inhibiting me from working. It just is an inconvenience of not knowing how much fuel is in there. But now that I have a chance to breathe for a second, I tried the steps that they recommended, hoping that maybe the float was just stuck and I could just fix it. Clearly it's not. And I'm just gonna reach out to them. They're gonna give me a new one, and I'll make a video on me just quickly installing that. I just showed you the process, but if it makes it easier, I'll just show another one once it comes in, and we'll get that taken care of. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching our videos. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments down below, suggestions, questions, anything like that. And stay tuned because we're gonna be putting this grapple to work. Like I said, we have a lot of asphalt and concrete just on my property alone that we have to get into the dump trailer. And I have a good amount that I actually have to go pick up from a couple other jobs as well. So stay tuned. We're gonna be doing a bunch of videos with this as well as the Coyote tractor. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.